when you go by the word continuous professional development, so the word itself has the answer. It is not, a chapter, it's a story. Teachers look at it as a checklist activity. Right. Because then they feel, yes, they have to do it because it is told to them. From my own experience, I think I will say CPD is mostly thought that it is for people who don't have experience. Our children are born in the digital age. All of us as teachers should today look at 21st century skills as something we should learn. So whether it's a new teacher or so-called experienced teacher like me, first for ourselves to learn so that we can relate to the learning and teach them what they want to. It's not about me. It's not me as a teacher, but it is more about the student as a learner. So the first change I think I would want to bring in myself is my mindset change.
Hello and welcome to the Chalk Talk. The Chalk Talk is our podcast series for educators. In today's episode, we are going to talk about continuous professional development, whether it's a visual thinking or real practice. And in today's episode, we have Miss Ann Dias with us. Miss Ann is an educator at heart with about 30 years of experience in education and currently a director of academics, quality assurance, teacher training, and has been a very integral part of the VIBGYOR Group of Schools today. Miss Ann, welcome to today's episode.
Thank you, Ojis.
Miss Ann, it's a pleasure to have you and definitely an honor for all of us. When we think about continuous professional development in today's world, to begin with, what is your perspective about what exactly is continuous professional development?
See, the word, thank you first for the question, and CPD, in short, what we say, is something very, very close to my heart too. And when you go by the word continuous professional development, so the word itself has the answer. It is not, a chapter, it's a story. So for a story, it is something which has a start, it has a middle, it has an end. Until we don't reach the end, you have to keep moving and learning. And that stands for the other two words, professional development. Yes. So as teachers, anything what we want to impart to our students, it has to be a continuous process. In my understanding it, I would say it is a womb to tomb process, because if teachers, we stop learning, then how will we encourage our students, that they need to learn, they need to grow, because we as teachers lead with examples. So professional development is for us, and if we do it continuously, our students will become learners for life.
Absolutely. And what a great thought to begin this conversation with, right? Because learning is in all our lives is something that we all consider, whichever profession we will be at. Whether you're a teacher, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, learning has to continue. It does not stop ever. But this brings me to the next question for today, ma'am. Many teachers have always considered CPD or teacher training for themselves as a checklist activity. Okay, they have considered that, oh, this is something that I'm supposed to do, so I will be doing it. Do you really think that it is something that it's a checklist activity and teachers around you are actually considering it seriously?
I will agree to some extent, and somewhere I think we all as heads or leaders also need to reflect on it. Because what happens is we are driven by policies and rules of governing body. So if it is told that 50 hours of training is mandatory, then teachers look at it as a checklist activity.
Right.
Because then they feel, yes, they have to do it because it is told to them. It is not coming from within that I want to learn. I want to bring a change for myself. So yes, it does happen that, if I'm being told that 50 hours you have to fill because that is connected to your appraisal, I will do it as a checklist.
Correct.
If on the other way around, if I look at it that it is going to make a difference in my personal life, in the life of of my students whom I work with, it makes a difference. It brings me to an example of my own daughter when she told me, Mama, everybody uses PPT as such, and there was a lot of PPT being used in class. So, what did you learn? Nothing.
Correct.
It was PPT. But if a teacher knows that what she wants to deliver to the PPT, which is a tool today technology has,
Correct.
and she reflects that the content is meant to bring a change, bring an impact in children,
Right.
she will use that tool, make a change, and that training will help her to develop and bring that change and use the tool effectively in class.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we should avoid looking at it completely as a checkbox activity. It's needed to keep a policy in place, but also more that how it will make a change in my teaching learning process.
Absolutely. And I think when we always say that in a school setup, in an educational ecosystem, where learning outcomes are at the focus, what is ultimately the child learning, right? And if we have to enhance those learning outcomes, that is where it all starts from, strengthening what the teacher already knows, building upon that, and then finally making that as a continuous activity. It is always said that continuous professional development, like you also mentioned in one of the points that you made, that I will do a training, I will take up a course, either online, offline, attend a workshop, because that adds to a credential in my profile. Okay, that adds to, let's say, a certain X amount of rupees as a part of my salary. Okay, or gives me some sort of a bonus or an increment. Okay, so if I do this, I will get this. Okay, but nobody around us, especially teachers, are looking at it from that perspective that, today all of my kids are learning in a certain way, but if I equip myself better, they are going to benefit. So these are certain myths about continuous professional development around us. What do you think? Are there any other myths that surround this whole activity of CPD for teachers?
Yes, from my own experience, I think I will say CPD is mostly thought that it is for people who don't have experience. And the second most important I feel was, when I had to design continuous professional development modules, we were always expected to create the modules within no time, thinking with the thought process that one hat or one size fits all.
Correct.
But as a teacher, I beg to differ with that thought process because we have teachers who may be having, like you mentioned, I have 30 years of experience.
Correct.
But I will still consider myself as a learner because what I did, or when I did BA 30 years ago, I was from the generation where computers was also not a subject.
Yes.
So today, I can't think of, without the laptop doing any work.
Absolutely.
So Word, Excel, PPT has become a byproduct of the way we work.
Correct.
So if I would start thinking that way, that, computers, why should have I learned? I didn't do it when I did it 30 years ago. I would have not been able to sustain it today because it's not about me. It is about my learner, what they want. So it's important that we give the students what they deserve than what we intend or we feel is the right thing.
Absolutely.
I think experienced teachers should not get it. I think I'm an experienced teacher, I want to learn. And one size fits all is the second that I would like to talk about, because when we talk about modules as a designer, I would say, it's important that you make the modules in such a way that the learner learns from where he or she requires to take it up for.
Correct.
Because sometimes some pedagogy lessons I know well, but I may not know how to curate or adapt it in my classroom. So I need more examples, or maybe I'm aware of the tools. I'm on the knowledge stage. I'm not on the application stage. How to use these tools effectively.
Correct.
So it is important that when we create these CPD modules, we create it from the learner base, that is teachers who are
Correct.
designing. So that, and today thankfully with technology there are so many apps and all available where we can create adaptive learning, which is more, I would say, blended. So you can do a lot of face-to-face training and online training.
Correct.
Works well for the management in terms of budget,
Right.
and helps us also to create learning pathways which will be customized to every teacher's needs.
Wonderful. And I think you've answered the next question also that I had, especially with respect to personalizing learning pathways for teachers. And technology, as you mentioned, is something that is changing the world around us. And it definitely helps us make these personalized learning pathways for every teacher. So, this actually brings me to my next question. What role does teacher motivation play in this whole CPD process? And how do you think schools can play a role? What role do they play, especially in nurturing this motivation when it comes to CPD?
So I will tell you about an incident which happened in VIBGYOR. So we came up with this concept that we have in-house trainers and who will train, the new joinees.
Correct.
Teachers joining all the branches all over our pan India schools which we have. So when we requested teacher volunteers to join, I felt that we didn't get very good response. So it made me think that why could that be what could be the cause behind it?
Correct.
And we felt vacations, because as teachers, that is a favorite word for all of us. I think maybe some of us also joined this profession because of the lovely word vacation, because it's considered like half the year, we are at home. And that could be the mindset. And why do I pay, work when I will not get any extra pay? Because normal vacation pay, like all other teachers, I'm getting. So we thought, okay, let's try it differently. So we added few more things. We added that, okay, those who help us, we will certify them. We will pay them some extra remuneration for clocking in those hours of extra training as such.
Correct.
And let me tell you, the response changed. So, not that we as teachers want to be money minded, but somewhere I think it's important to be recognized, respected, and also a little bit of remuneration adds value to the whole process. I feel, because you feel respected in that way. So motivation comes in different forms. For me, my team has told me when I just say, "Wow, you did a good job," and I've heard my team members telling me, if you said it, it means a lot to me. So it makes a difference how, as leaders, when we give a small pep talk or a pat on people's shoulder, so whether it is simple motivation statements, pep talk, or going with these extra steps of certification, remuneration, definitely helps us feel that we are part of the process and we need to do it, because all of us, including me, want appreciation. And there is nothing wrong in it. It just makes us all realize that we're on the right track.
Absolutely.
And that helps us to, push ourselves forward.
Absolutely. In fact, one of the conversations I was having with the school principal in a northern state, he told me one thing that, there was a time when we used to tell our teachers that, hey, you know what, from now onwards, 4 Sundays, you're going to undergo training session. And all the teachers, because it was a vacation, they did not like this thing about what the principal has planned for them. The next year, he said that we plan to communicate it differently. We said that, hey, you know what, among the 50 teachers that we have, you guys are the top 10 teachers that have been selected for the training. And that's going to happen on Sundays. Instantly, they felt motivated because they were amongst those teachers who were selected, and the training was not imposed upon by them. So I think these small things, communicating it the way, in a certain way, matters. As you mentioned, appreciating them matters. A pat on the back, a certain remuneration, anything that acts as a reward for doing, undergoing a training or doing something better for themselves, I think definitely matters.
Awards and recognition. Two
Absolutely.
important things.
I agree. In fact, my next question is linked to what I just mentioned. How do you ensure that in a busy school ecosystem, CPD does not feel like an extra burden, but an everyday practice?
So, like I hear it right. When you're saying it as an extra burden. And so the moment we feel that it's an extra burden, we start perceiving it as extra baggages we have to carry.
Yeah.
So if we come out of that mindset completely extra burden, and we look at it as something I want to do it on a regular basis. So if I have to give you an example, so we started something called usage of ChatGPT in my content development team. So we are taking help of AI, where AI, with the help of certain prompts, is giving instant feedback for lesson plans, which is
Absolutely.
now that has become a part of my process. So what we are trying to teach my first level of content developers, that before the SME gives you a lot of correction, you also do a little bit of self check and see what is it. So we minimize the errors. So if you make it as a process, you build it in the regular system. And I think how we adults work, that we want to see how positively it is helping me. So that makes a difference in how we work around, because now the mindset of the content developers is now the SME will give me less feedback. I am learning a lot, and I'm learning it on the table on that lesson plan immediately. Because sometimes our thought process is changed by the time this SME takes 2 days to 3 days to develop, and I might forget what my thought process is. So it does definitely help you to get the feedback immediately. And when the next level of people are appreciating it, it makes a difference. And you're ready to accept the process yourself. And what we have to do is make it a seamless process, then an extra burden.
Absolutely correct. In fact, I've always seen this, and I completely am an advocate of saying that anything that we learn, should not be practiced or looked at separately or in isolation, and should always be used at our workplaces day in and day out. I think that is when we say that, okay, now I can master my skill because I'm using it every day. Could you share certain examples where continuous professional development programs have actually worked in practice? Okay, you have been a teacher educator yourself, and you've conducted numerous amount of such trainings. Have you seen that your teachers are applying that in everyday practice, and how does that feel?
So it definitely makes me feel good. But if I have to give you an example, I think I will talk about our master training program, which I spoke a bit in some bits and parts in my previous question. So first, let me explain to you what this master training program is, because it will kind of tie up all the questions. So we have our principals of each school nominating the best teachers they feel. Now, teachers could be not necessarily the main teachers. So we have something called education facilitators as also teachers. Anybody, be it a coordinator, be an HOD, whomever they feel have the flair or the desire to make a difference.
Correct.
They select those and they nominate these around 8 to 10 names. And they give it to us. The management has assigned budget to us where we do in-house training. We call it the Train the Trainer program. During the Train the Trainer program, these teachers all across our schools, we meet at a location and we have a complete Train the Trainer program for 5 days. Where, like examples, questioning skills is one of the things. Andragogy, because we're not talking of pedagogy now. So what is andragogy? How we have to understand that, what are adult learning principles. So these are some modules which is done on a face-to-face training. After the face-to-face training, these teachers are, given small modules, which is designed by us, and they will have to do a teach back. Post the teach back happens, they get a descriptive reports about what is where they are good at, their strengths, which are the areas of improvement, and how they need to, next when they go back to their schools and they have to impart any training, how they have to do it. When they're in school, the first modules which we did, my team members from the head office, they visit. So we call it the OTG, on the job training. They sit with these trainers and they do a complete evaluation report, which is that, and guide the staff members as to what they did best and what they could still improve on.
Right.
So when I see this whole cycle, what I have seen, that I would not say all, but most of these trainers, they really feel that where they started the journey, they had the flair, they had the fire to do it. But with the help of these trainings, what I'm talking of the modules, then the teach back, then the OTG, they have refined their skills further, and they feel there is a change in them. I guess their public speaking skills are better. As a personality, they are more confident. So it makes a big difference. And how do I come to know? I get lots and lots of thank you cards, very personalized, telling me how these small acts of ours, our skill training, made a lot of difference, not only in their professional life, but sometimes in their personal life too. Because then they have learned how to deal with certain parents whom they found were they say that they're difficult parents. Yeah. So, or, sometimes with the peers, how to, handle these crisis managements and all that. So it has empowered them. So CPD is more of empowerment. And over the time, if these master trainers, they feel that we have managed to make a change for the better, they are very positive. And in fact, this program I started in 2017. My first batch, which is at 2018, they're like the torch bearers. They had such positive feedback and for their, the changes we made in their life, that today people wait when we are going to just release that we're going to start the program. And we have to because I have a cap up, I don't take more than 16 in a batch. We have to think, okay, now this we'll do in one batch. Now we have done batches. So it does help as such. And I think what we need to do is be continuous, that we say, continuous in our efforts, not to give up on somebody. I think that's the most important thing, because at times I've had teachers who want to do, but they somehow lack something in them. So we have to just be with them, constantly guiding them, because every learner is important to a teacher in class. For a trainer, every participant is important. Not to give up and work. And I think with this example, what I feel with this master training program, we have made a difference in the lives of over, I would say, 500 teachers by now. And they have, in fact, flaunted on social media that they are now master trainers or, across.
Correct.
So it does help.
Yeah, definitely.
This program has made a big difference, I would say.
Yeah. No, this is very heartening. And, when you share that even a thank you card from someone who you have trained and made a difference in their lives, I think is definitely, tells us a lot about what positive impact we are building. I want to ask you that as a school, what sort of growth opportunities or paths do schools provide to participants or teachers who have taken up these teacher training programs? And is it structured? Is it not structured? If you could also share some examples from VIBGYOR as well, like how do you ensure that we give growth opportunities to the teachers who are involved in continuous professional development for themselves?
Indeed. So what we do is all those who are previous question answered, all those who are certified, they take up 4 training modules in the academic year.
Okay.
Now, what are those 4 modules? They're divided into functional training, soft skill training, and something which is maybe related to a government. For example, last 2-3 years, we're talking about NEP coming in.
Right.
So NEPs come in post that NCF came into being. So that is something related to NCF, understanding of that. So over the 4 mandatory modules as per the management, we divide it based on the requirement.
Correct.
So if I talk about last year, we had one module which was on anecdotal report. Because 360 degrees report card is something we all knew maybe as teachers, and we are aware of it. But what is the challenge behind it? How to implement that in school?
Holistic
Report card. Yes. So what we did was we sat and we designed one framework. We designed out how this competency-based assessment should be mapped.
Correct.
And we have taken the help of these trainers. And now these trainers are training in their respective schools and taking it. So it is not that, okay, we just take them and we certify them, but then these trainers do also training for our own staff. At times, I have new schools coming up. So this year, we most probably having 5 new schools. So then these trainers go and training on these new schools. So they are like our ambassadors going to the school because there is a complete new batch of teachers in that particular school. So they will stand, they help with the setting up of the school, training of the teachers. Then we talk about functional training. So we have something called curriculum workshops, which is like empowering the teacher for the coming fortnight on how to deliver lesson plans or use our learning resources in class effectively. So these people handhold that staff and they train. So when we give them this kind of exposure to go out not only to their own schools, they also go out to our other schools. Sometimes we have got requests from the government or we have got requests from other schools. So then the selected trainers even go and represent, our school, but they may do those modules which that school wants. So personally, I know I have done a government project where somebody wanted on English as a communication language. So we took up that. And when we visited that place and we did the training ourselves. So that time I need help because the team over there was 100. So then we check with these certified trainers that would they like to join. And then attendance for the day is given to them and their school work, not to suffer, proxies arranged by other teachers for them. So exposing them within school and even outside, wherever I think training becomes more like a service then.
Yes.
And we enjoy it. So
correct. Okay, so the next question that I'm going to ask you is about technology. You mentioned about your team embracing technology, and all of us are in some form or the other trying to embrace that in our daily lives. How do you think, and in your opinion, how has EdTech and AI opened up new possibilities for teacher training in today's times?
So I'll go back to VIBGYOR again and my own experiences here. So earlier days, like I would say 20 years ago, when we did training, I could do training when I used to travel, take a batch of 20, 30 people and train. So there was a lot of personalized training, face-to-face training. But for everything, there are pluses and minuses. So the minus at that time became that I could not be everywhere all the time.
Yes.
And with school especially. So we don't say, normal calendar, regular calendar, we start January. We use the word academic calendar. Academic calendar, why? Because it starts based on the reopening of the school, which is whether it's an April session or a June session. So when I talk about, so we have trainings called pre-service trainings and in-service training. Now, for pre-service training about new policies which we wanted, has to be done at the beginning of the academic year. Now, it was very difficult for me to make my clone and be, across all our schools at that time.
Correct.
So, how did we manage it then? I used to have a core team. We used to train them, have dry runs, come and have a facilitator's manual to do it.
Correct.
So there was a lot of hard work which went in and trying to ensure that we sustain that quality and the right amount of learning went.
Right.
But today, when I see it with technology, with the help of online trainings, I can still do a training which is face to face, and numbers doesn't become an issue. Time doesn't become an issue because I can reach out to masses at a given time. With a simple thing of using the chat, immediately questions from the audience or participants come to me. We can answer those questions there and then. When it comes to finances, a lot of budget is saved because otherwise we used to travel. So hotel stay, flight cost, and all that adds to it.
That is
So I think with technology, we have made progress in the help of CPD. Yes, but I will not advocate that it has to be only online. So we should have a blended approach. So few modules, because that goes more by the content. Certain content, certain modules suit best for online. But certain modules you need to have hands-on experience. So what we should advocate, blended approach, take help of technology where it is a boom, less a bane.
Yes.
And where we need hands-on, take the help of our master trainers, get the job executed with lots of hands-on experience. So definitely, and with times to come, our children are born in the digital age. We cannot be students or teachers, sorry, not students, as teachers of the early man.
Correct.
So we have to be walking the path which our students are working or striving for.
Absolutely. So I think blended or hybrid learning is the way forward. The next question that I'm going to ask you is about see, there are teachers who are wanting to take up trainings, get into continuous professional development for themselves. What skills do teachers of today they need to learn so as to keep themselves up to date with what is happening around them, and especially in accordance to the new policies, including the NEP 2020 as well?
So we will just look at it this way that if I have to take up a training, I think what I need to take up training is we always had in mind the time I did BEd, and we had this habit of writing the learning objective on the blackboard. When before we executed our class, that this is the learning objective for the day, and this is what I'm going to teach.
Correct.
But today, I think the perspective is very different because it's not about me. It's not me as a teacher, but it is more about the student as a learner.
Correct.
So the first change I think I would want to bring in myself is my mindset change. So if I have to go back to a classroom and teach, I will not write learning objective. I will write learning outcome because my students need to know what they are going to learn.
Correct.
And that's the whole thrust of it. So any of us as teachers want to understand how we need to enhance ourselves, we have to start thinking from that perspective. So any courses, because today there are lots of apps available which are there, which talks about skilling programs. Because the focus is not anymore the top chalk method or the rote learning method. It is skill based. So we should effectively try to build skills in students. These skills which will help the child to become a lifelong learner.
Correct.
Like for me, I think I learned cycling when I was a kid. But today also, if a cycle is given to me, I will mumble for some time. And I think then I will be able to take the cycle out and go for a nice long ride. Because it's a skill I learned.
Correct.
So that is the attitude we should have. So all of us as teachers should today look at 21st century skills as something we should learn. So whether it's a new teacher or so-called experienced teacher like me, what our students need, what is the learning outcome I want? Because we have to make them critical learners. We have to teach them how to be very good with all the C's of their life. So learn to do a lot of collaborative learning, critical thinking, have good command over their language skills. The communication is important. Because today, I think if we take our phones and see WhatsApp, and you see the new language they use, which is LOL and this and that. Maybe I don't know that word. I need a dictionary to understand.
Correct.
Which is also communication. And it is good. And it is, but maybe not a professional communication. So I don't know, with the continuous usage of this, will they know professional language to you? So we may have to train them that, but that I have to learn. I seen a video of some school, I won't name the school. So these students had a survey of their teachers and they gave them these 2-3 letter words And in that video, the teachers were so honest that 9 out of 10 they didn't know those shortcuts or they didn't know what it means. So, but if you want to, we need to communicate to our children. We may need to learn that language also because till we don't connect to them, our communications with them will not happen. So just helping them build their communication will not help. So having, I think, all the 21st century skills first for ourselves to learn so that we can relate to the learning and teach them what they want to learn.
Absolutely.
So I think learning outcomes should be the key.
Correct. So I think focus on learning outcomes, as you mentioned, plus ensuring that I should be having the skills that I wish my students, has, including critical thinking or creativity or communication skills, as you mentioned. As we come towards the conclusion of this episode, we have talked a lot about things that are surrounding the CPD ecosystem around teachers today. I would like to understand what is that one message that you would like to give to teachers in the context of CPD today?
So, in one sentence, I would like to say normally all of us believe experience is the best teacher.
Right.
And I agree, but I like to just add an extra line to that. Experience is definitely the best teacher, but with experience, it's important to also reflect. So we get experiences which are good and not so good.
Correct.
So we need to reflect which experience I want to take it as my learning and grow with that learning.
Absolutely.
So each of us should learn, experience, and reflect.
Absolutely. I think what a wonderful note to conclude this episode on. Thank you so much, Ms. Anne, for your time and for those insights that you have shared with us today. Definitely for me, and I'm sure for all our viewers, we all had an enriching experience listening to you and, of course, to the ideas that you shared today. As you mentioned, we will leave all of our audience on this note that experience is the best teacher. So, experience teaches us and reflection reinforces. So, I would request each one of you to like this video, share what your feeling is in the comment section, and subscribe to our channel. I will see you in the next episode.